Thank you. Sir, kindly sit down. Thank you for the courtesy. Nice to see you, sir. Good afternoon. Maria Aimee, His Excellency Lee Koc Tuan, Ambassador of Vietnam to the Philippines, the National Security Advisor, Hermogenes Esperon, and other members of the Cabinet. Nandito po si Secretary Roque, yung ating spokesman na bago. Hindi ho siya nauubusan ng salita sa bunganga. Department of Social Welfare Development Officer Emmanuel Leico, members of the House of Representatives, Director of Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Undersecretary Eduardo Gungona, Pangasinan Governor Amado Espino, Sual Pangasinan Mayor Roberto Arconi, wrong spelling ho dito. Mga kababayan, I'm sorry, I was just reading. I have, ito lang ang speech ginawa nila para sa inyo. Ng opisina ko. Mukhang hindi ho karapat-dapat na bigyan ko lang kayo ng, I can finish this in 1 minute. But I have to say something about our relations with the rest of the ASEAN Association. Alam mo, the changing picture of politics, nag-iiba as history will give you the geopolitics and the imperialism and wars. It used to be the Philippines under the Spaniards, the Indonesians under the Dutch, and Malaysia under the British. And over the years, there's a changing picture. Independence came in, and we have our own, predilections to where we would want to belong. And of late, in this generation, we have come up with something that is really native to ours. After gaining our independence, the elder politicians of this country, the bright ones, came up with this ASEAN Association. And so, every now and then, we meet and we talk since then. Late, we had the ASEAN Summit, and it was agreed that peace amongst the members must be preserved. And cooperation and help, assistance, must also be present. So, lahat ito pinag-usapan namin, and of course, it is not a novelty thing about Filipinos being arrested in Indonesia for encroachment into the territorial sea or even into their economic zones, and Malaysians sometimes, and of course our Vietnamese friends, but these are very natural in a very communal and busy world. Sometimes it is done purposely, or it may be because, pardon the word, ignorant of the sea lanes, or the outright that sometimes they are lost at sea, especially those who are stranded by typhoons and everything. All of this we have to take into account. And foremost, the job of a president is to maintain the balance of friendship and power in the region. And I'd like to mention in passing just what happened in Marawi. It took the armed forces and the police longer than necessary. We could have finished up in about a month or two. But one of those delays, sa akin galing yun, And you know, I could not just order the bombing to flatten Marawi. If we did it, then it will maybe expedite or abbreviate the situation. But then I had to think of the 2 million plus Filipinos outside of our country who are working mostly in the Middle East, mostly in Muslim states. Pag-isipan ko yon, i-balance ko muna. Because you just go in there and order the bombing, and I said, including the mosques and the shrines there. Because then you will just have to generate hatred and it will never end. To the last minute, I cannot mention their names, but I called the heads of state. At sinabi ko, the military is asking me now, what now? Because there are still the remnants inside buildings, and the only way to get them out is really to assault the buildings. And finally, after talking sense with some of the leaders of the countries that I have known all these years, as mayor and as president, I said that you just have to understand. I have to protect my people, and I'm losing so many soldiers and policemen. And told them that this cannot go on. I have to do something. And with this situation also, I had to order, ano ba naman yung mangingisda lang, kung magdinamita ka dyan, mas marami pa ang makuha mo dyan sa, well, anyway, this is something very, I consider minor. Hindi naman yan basta-basta. Since then, about a year ago, nandito na ako. Kung ganun lang kadalas about seasonal, then maybe we can find the forgiveness in our hearts. In the interest of the larger picture of the East ASEAN and ASEAN countries. Kailangan natin intindihin natin yan. I had to do it because I made a commitment during the ASEAN. And it was also their promise that to do the same. That we treat our poor citizens who happen just to intrude somewhere with understanding, with love, or after all, hindi naman ito mga mayaman. Controller yan, siguro sabihin ko sa pasabugin mo, pero ano mo naman yung lantsa-lantsa? What is very important even is the security of our waters. We continue to have a problem, pati sila, some were captured in that Sulu Sea and the Molucca Strait. We have to do something about it. We have met, and I think the military and the police, they have this modus vivendi, which if it's the one, na they will cooperate joint patrols. Ako sinabi ko, if it is a confirmed terrorist vessel, sink it. Sink it. Never mind about the terrorists. The fish will consume them. Sink it and end the problem. Mahirap yung ganon. You capture people. You make them do chores like a slave. You are treated like a dog, and you are decapitated publicly in front of a video or television. That's why I said, yung mga sundalo naman natin, yung mga police may sidearms. And I also like to caution you now, the NPAs are on the offensive. Binilihan ko lahat, pati yung army wala silang sidearms. And I said that I'll buy everyone and each one of you a sidearm. I'll give you this to protect you. Kasi itong mga NPA, so walang kahiyaan nila. Ito yung mga sundalo ko, pati pulis, magpunta lang sa kampo, especially itong mga army, lalabas ng kampo, paturay-turay lang, kasi hindi naka-uniforme. And they are just also like a dog, pinapatay. And what caused really my precipitated rather yung ceasefire na nahinto, because there was this ambush of two soldiers who went to the bank to get their hazard pay. Pinagbabaril nila. Nung tinanong ko ang medical legal, sabi ko, ilan ang tama? 72 gunshot wounds. Sabi ko, kababuyan na to. Kaya tinawagan ko si John Anya, sabi ko, sir, I'm sorry, but sabi nila, February 10 sila, sabi ko, unahan mo na, sabi ko, mauna na tayo. And now there is, I am losing about on the average 5 to 7 soldiers and policemen all throughout the country. They are now on the offensive, and that is why I said, kayong mga police, just a little bit of vigilance. The sparrows are really active. Paglabas ng bahay ninyo, huwag muna kayong lumabas. Yan dyan sa tindahan na yan, umabos ng soft drinks na 2 oras na. There is something wrong with it, idiot. O yan dyan sa kanto, if you see him 3 times, ilapitan mo na, posisyon ka muna. Total, may mga armas na ka. Tapos, huwag kayong magpalugi. Especially in Hulo, do not surrender. I do not mind losing properties of government. That's nothing to me. But as a buhay, if you are there, especially in those areas, you die with your dignity as a soldier. May baril kayo with 3 magazines. Yung 2 magazine para sa kalaban yan. Yung 1 magazine maiwan, para sa iyo yan. Para sa bunganga mo yan. Do not surrender the gun until you are dead. At do not give them the pleasure of decapitating you. Just shoot wherever you want to. You might start with your balls. Then going upwards and just say, mabuhay tayong lahat sa impyerno. Tayo rin na. Huwag kayo magpaputol ng ulo. Putang. Hindi ko na nga binabasa ang speech para masasabi ko. Wala naman sinabi dito na putulan kayo ng... Yung mga lalaki na, buti kung putulan ka lang rin ng sabihin mo na, ito tulong binilig na. If you lose something down there, you are practically dead. Goodbye, happiness. So I said, I will not ever talk to there were attempts to establish a line. Yung mga fraternity brothers who are also Maranaos. There will never be a time that I'll talk to terrorists. Ang NPAs, pinutol ko na because I think that they are not really serious. Just biding their time. They do not have the second echelons to carry the fight. And they just want to be comfortable. I am preparing now, they are preparing the executive order declaring them to be terrorists, and they will be afforded the treatment of being criminals. There will be no filing of cases under the public security like rebellion, because rebellion is considered sometimes a noble undertaking. It's only because you want your country to do better. Pero that's why there is a bail. and I have given too much too soon. And I know that the military were complaining. But I said, my job is to seek peace with everybody, to attain peace for my country. You have to understand that. So dumating ang panahon, sabi ko, kita mo ngayon, I will order the rearrest. But yun namang binitawan ko out also of humane reasons. For one, those who were above 70 like me, parang ako na ang napapagod para sa kanila. Although leaders, sabi ko, say, you can go. Anyway, they cannot go far. They cannot climb those mountains there. You will find them sa mga ospital o sa kwarto yan, papahinga na. But I do not want to start a real violent war. But if the NPAs, just like the terrorists, would do it, then we will give them the favor. There will be no talks with the NPAs now. And I told them, we have been fighting this war 50 years ago. And they want another 50 years. I said, I have pleaded even to go down on bended knees to ask everybody at the start of my presidency. Mag-usap lang tayo kasi ayaw ko ng patayan. That is not my job as president to promote wars. It's not my job to encourage violence. Pito yung droga for those human rights in or out of the Philippines, hear this. Forget about it. Your complaints would just fall on deaf ears. Hindi kita pakinggan. I have promised. That was my second promise. Sa matter of fact, yung election, madali ako natapos magsalita because my messaging was very few, far in between in the elections. And I told you, if you elect me as president, I will stop corruption, and it will stop. I have even made a proposal because they think that what I wanted was to change the Constitution and be a dictator. Bullshit. Kung maaari lang. That's why I proposed last night. Together with the priests, left or right, minus the terrorists, and we can talk. And if we can come up with a constitution that truly reflects the dreams and aspirations of the people, especially against graft and corruption, huwag kayong matakot. And you can include even in the powers of the presidency, constrict it, do not add the powers to what is provided for in the Constitution right now. Huwag nakalimutan mo na. And you can provide that the incumbent or sitting president, which is me, his services will be terminated upon the approval of this Constitution. That is a guarantee to you that I do not seek power or some beyond the ordinary dreams of a Filipino citizen. You can make it, if you can have it mid-year. At the end of the year, I will step down, and that is my commitment to the Filipino people. Para sabihin nyo, magkukonstitusyon tayo, gagawain mo lang ng dictatorial, no? They're just using it. Actually, itong mga rally-rally, the extrajudicial, oh yes, of course. If you destroy my country, that has always been said, I will destroy you. If you destroy the young of my land, I will destroy you. There is no such thing as an individual selling of shabu. It is always an organized crime. There has somebody who will cook it, somebody to corrupt, somebody to distribute, somebody to sell it. Yung basurero, the garbage, they call it, the garbage men. They are the street dealers. It is always organized. You cook, nobody distributes it, you're dead. You are a dealer, there is no supply. But along the way, 4 million Filipinos are contaminated with drugs. Ang masakit sa akin, human rights guys would come here and with their counterparts also off the rockers. I mean, ito ang listahan sa namatay, extrajudicial kills. Tapos, kopyahin nila yung, Duterte, 10,000, sometimes 6,000, sometimes 4,000. So, they come here and lecture on me. You know, Mr. President, drug is an health issue. It is an illness. Anak na, sino may sabi sa iyo, you contract illness? It is an health issue, it is a social problem. But you come here, you just take a look in the list without asking me why. And we became a narco-politics ang Philippines about 4 or 5 years ago. That's the problem. That you have mayors, Espinosa of Leyte, the infamous one, si Parahinog, the mayor there. He was already killing his own police who did not identify with him in his illegal business. Pinapatay niya yung mga pulis niya, kagaya itong si Albuero Mayor Espinosa. He killed 2 of his policemen in the market, dyan sa harap ng sakyanan. Sabi ko, no. If you are using the platform, if you think you can do it like Colombia or forget it, I will not allow it. Look at the obscenity of it all. In one of his houses, rest houses, ang wallpaper niya was 500 denomination paper bills. That's why he had to die. The Albuera mayor was responsible for the death and destruction of lives in the Eastern Visayas. Western Visayas, si Udikta, yung couple na pinatay doon sa Pantalan. I told you Mabilog was a drug dealer, mayor of Iloilo. And I told him, you'll be next. So he went out of the country. He was dismissed. Hindi na bumalik. Why? But if he was really innocent, they have nothing against drugs. Why would you be afraid? But I told everybody, once upon a time, last year, I gathered all the mayors in one room in Malacañang and shut the door. At sinabi ko sa kanila, do not do it. You will lose your funds or maybe your life. General Luot of the police was there. But I pointed to him, General, ikaw pang unang general na patayin ko. Huwag mo akong bullshitin ng gano'n. I don't give a shit who you are. Stay off. Stay clear. And that's the same thing that sinabi ko sa mga gobernador. Nothing personal. I'm just also like anybody else. I'm just an ordinary mayor. I just don't know why I became president suddenly. But I said, droga, corruption, then I have to improve the peace and order of the countryside because, kita mo na ngayon, you sit almost every day without fail. NPA is burning the equipments of business interest, foreign nationals, sinusunog dyan sa harap-harap ng highway. Umuusok everywhere. Pagka ganito, and you live not with the fat of the land, but the fat, with the pockets of kinukolekta lahat. An extortion. So what will be my order to do? They shoot them. They will kill you anyway. So, if there is an armed NPA there or terrorist, if he's holding a firearms, shoot and tell any, ako na ang magsagot. You just shut up. Do not answer if that issue of human rights. You see, go to Duterte. It is and was his order para tumahimik na. And so, you are destroying my country. You expect me to pat you on the back and say, dahan-dahan ka lang? You can commit any, wag lang druga. Wag lang talaga, not drugs, because it will literally kill the Filipino. Ito namang, I will shorten it for you. Ito namang terorista, dyan sa Mindanao, can contract it into one. This was really about the historical injustice committed against the Moro people. That's one. Second is the survival of the nation. Pag walang mangyari nitong usapan itong peace talks ngayon for Mindanao, the MI and MF will regroup together and will wage war against government. Pagka nangyari yan, then Philippines now would be a very tempting offer for the ISIS to come in. You know, in a war, your friend is my enemy. I am sure papasok dyan ang terrorist. So it will be doubly hard for us. Then you have, in other places in Mindanao and Luzon, you have the communists. And in between those illegal activities, the police would be busy attending to the drug problem. Dito sa drugs, if there is an outstretched hand in surrender, you know, the only way that you can shoot and kill a person is when your life itself or yourself is in danger of being killed. That's the only justification. Otherwise, kneeling down or shooting him at the back would be murder. Pero dito sa terrorists, pati NPAs, anyway, they are there waiting at the roadside. You just be very careful. Mainit talaga ang baril. Guns are very hot. Kukunin talaga sa inyo yan. So you better be prepared. There's nothing wrong in walking another 3 steps. Lumingon ka lang. Huwag kang magpakita sa kanila na takot ka. Ang ibig lang sabihin yan, alam mong sinusundan ka at kailangan kang bumunot ng baril at barilin sila. Ngayon, kung balot bindor pa lang yung binira mo, pasensya, tawagin mo ako, kaya arigluhin natin. Talaga, pero those are what you would call in the law mistaken identity or mistaken in fact, which is really an exempting circumstance. In good faith, you believe that you're being followed by a killer, and by your standards as a police, you really believe in good faith that the guy there is going to slaughter you, and then you shoot first. It turns out to be your houseboy following you because your wife is very suspicious of you. Itong police, marami ito. Kayong mga police, hindi masyado sa army, hindi ako nakikita kasi I've been mayor for 23 years sa Davao. I'm not trying to offend you, but during my time, and when I was young, every funeral service that the cemetery, there are always 2 families, 3, crying over the son of a bitch. Just a word or two. But what is important that I'd like to address our Vietnamese friends that we are one, we are Asians. I'm sorry for the incident. I hope it would never happen again. But this incidents will not destroy our bond of relationship. It's very strong. And we commit to the ambassador that the next time, kindly give me a call personally, and I will do the same to your president. And maybe we cannot avoid altogether these incidents. They will happen and happen again. But let us, I said, shorten the period they're being out of their country for so long. It's a matter of course and arrangement. And we would be willing to talk anytime, Mr. Ambassador. And with that, on that note, I say salamat po at I bid you a safe journey back home. Salamat.